How many of you guys are doing a final project that involves a presentation? Maybe in PowerPoint.
I'm doing a group presentation for like an audience and media class that I'm taking, but we usually use Google Slides because you could share it like among a lot of people with the email through the school, so it's just easier to like collaborate on the work.
Absolutely. I love Google Slides too. I mean, they're very, very similar, and actually you can share PowerPoint too. So I'll show you. You can certainly share from PowerPoint, and you can, the new version that we're using now has capability to present live and things like that. So, what I wanted to say is, anybody else want to say anything about their presentation? So you can move back and forth too between PowerPoint and Google Slides and even Keynote or whatever. I mean, typically you can do things like save a Google Slides as a PowerPoint. And depending, if you want to get certain features, each one has its, pros and cons. So you can kind of mix them together and come out with, a kind of hybrid presentation that you can, obviously you have to pick one platform once you actually present, but you can actually kind of move back and forth as you're editing it and composing it. This way you can get the best of both worlds. Obviously, right? You'll be presenting it in front of your class through Blackboard or through Google Slides, Meet or WebEx. And obviously those programs too seem to have those kind of presentation platforms, right? So like you can share your screen, and you can obviously use the whiteboard, which is very similar to a kind of slide deck. Presentation is obviously where it's at in a lot of ways, like the idea of just presenting yourself, maybe presenting yourself in a job interview or resume or, web page. All those things are part of your kind of image and your brand, right? So the way that you make your presentation is a critical factor. A lot of times I think weaker content can do well in a good presentation. On the other hand, really good content can falter in a bad presentation, right? So the idea of, you might have done your research and you've done your homework and you know your subject, but if you don't really present it very well, you could lose your audience. They won't come away with the learning objectives that you want them to. So it's a marriage, that goes hand in hand between the content of the presentation and then the actual execution of the presentation. And you can hear my dog. As soon as she hears PowerPoint, she starts barking. One of her favorites. I know, Nikki, you don't like, those lecture presentations in class, but, they have to happen. So here is a blank PowerPoint in Microsoft 365 for the Mac. And, make sure that you are using the full version that's downloaded from the FIT website. There are two versions, obviously, that you can use, the web version. And I like the web version. It has certain things that this version actually doesn't have in presenting. But this version is more powerful. So if you compose in this version, you can use the web version, for instance, to share it and do a live presentation. Okay, so I'm going to start just by looking at the key terms that we usually do, and I'm going to do them in the outline. So you can see if I go home here, I'm actually in the outline view. If you go to the views, you can see like the normal view, and it has three panes. It has the thumbnails. It has the notes. Let me see these notes over here. Should be able to, make those notes bigger if I want to. So these panes are kind of movable. If I want to, work on one area, I can just go to the border and work on it. And this slide has content placeholders. So all these things will automatically call up, like here, it'll call up Excel. If I do, insert, and I can, insert a line chart, and Excel will actually launch. That's one of the nice things about using the Office suite. So you'll go into Excel, and then you'll compose your chart, and let's see what happens here. It'll give me a kind of dummy set of data, and I can easily just, adjust that data here. I can change these numbers, and in the background, Excel is actually putting that chart into PowerPoint. And you can see, everything I do will be kind of updated there. Actually, we'll just delete that. So all kinds of other content placeholders then for pictures, for videos, smart art, all kinds of things like that. So the view that I'm going to show you guys first is the outline view. And the outline view is kind of like a word processor. So let's make a slide for comments. And then to go to the next slide, to navigate in the outline, I'm going to use return. Okay, so that'll put me on slide 3 now. And I'm going to say views. And then I want slide 4. Okay, and I'm going to say sections. Okay, let's say I wanted 4A now. What would I do to get 4A? Does anybody know? So in other words, if I hit enter, I'll get slide 5. But if I really wanted a subhead here, what could I do, Jaylene? You have any idea? Again, I'm not trying to grill you. I'm just taking the role too. So if you want some help, let us know. Just say hello, Jaylene.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm gonna guess and say that maybe you can like double click on that slide and then it'll give you options.
Okay, that's a good guess actually, and double clicking is always good. I'm trying it, it's not working. Or right clicking. So let me tell you what the general tools are for navigating in the outline. Return obviously keeps you at the same level. Tab gives you a weaker level. So this would be our 4A. Okay, and then if I hit return now, I'll get 4B. And 4C, why not? Now let's say I wanted slide 5. When I hit return, I go to the placeholder for 4D. What do you think will be the way to get back? Because we went to the right with tab. How do we go backwards now to more important levels? It's tab and another key. Take another guess, Jaylene.
Would it be tab delete or tab return?
Good guesses. Shift tab. So
Oh,
if I hold down the shift key and hit tab, then I'll go backwards there. See, now I'm on slide 5. Okay, and slide 5 is going to be format pictures. And slide 6, I'll just put the rest of them in there. Alt text. These are just the concepts that are in there using columns. Format painter. If I can spell. And the final one is animation. Not that that's the final one, but those are the kind of key concepts that came out of the chapter. So you can guess when I give you guys the guidelines for the project, I'm going to say things like you have to put a comment in there somewhere. You have to format your picture in some kind of way. You have to use columns and alt text and animation. Okay, so obviously all these concepts you want to be able to kind of master. So navigating in the outline is interesting because it's like using Word. And actually, if someone gave you a Word document where they used tabs and shift tabs and kind of had those kind of levels, you could bring it right into PowerPoint and it would create the slides like this for you. So a lot of times, again, when you're collaborating, you might be getting the content from someone else and you might be in charge of doing the layout or vice versa. So the idea of when you go to a new slide, see over here, new slide, if I hold this down, besides this family of layouts that go with this slide, I can also take slides from a Word outline and just bring it in, or even reuse slides from another PowerPoint presentation, kind of combine them or whatever, or tailor it to a certain audience or whatever. Okay? Anybody have any questions? All right, so let's take a look. I'm going to just change this a little bit here so we can see the slide bigger, but we'll keep the outline in view, and we'll go to the next concept called comments, and we'll call on Christina to say hello. Christina, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So you're working on a PowerPoint presentation with your group in advertising, marketing, communications, and you guys are sharing the presentation, and you see a little discrepancy in some of the, the work that's done, and you want to make a comment to your colleagues. How could you do that? How could I add a comment to this slide? Any idea? You start out with one of these tabs. So which one do you think might have a good idea if I'm kind of, where would I be commenting probably?
Maybe
what stage?
You go to review.
Maybe. So here we go, right? Comments, right? And then
Yeah.
you can see you can add comments here, you can delete comments, you can go from one comment to the other. So you can see I'm logged on, so I add a comment here, and then you can kind of move around the comments, you can edit them. You can say things like, well, Michael said that, we should add a picture here, and then later on when you add the picture, you can say done, right? So this way we can kind of see a thread or a string of comments to see who was responsible for which thing and who did that or whatever, okay? So show comments is that comment tab over there, and there's a comment from Nikki, my dog. So yeah, comments are interesting, and they're very good for these kind of collaborative presentations where you're going to be working with a group of people so that everybody is on the same page and you can kind of communicate with each other. Similar to Word, right? And in Excel you can do it, also under the Review tab. That's the other thing about Office too, right? Once you know how to do something in Word, it kind of is the same thing. So I'm going to make a comment in Word, I'm going to make a comment in Excel, in PowerPoint, and Access, whatever. They're all going to be under the Review tab. All right, nice work. Amanda, you are next. So what are we up to here? Views. Okay, so any idea what the views are in PowerPoint? We already looked at two of them and what their strengths might be.
Yeah, isn't like the orientation of it almost?
Orientation, yeah, that's really called layout, I think. So if you go to design, right, you can do like slide size. You can go to standard, which is weird because standard today really is 16 by 9. But I guess you could scale it and make it square looking, right? So we do this, it comes out more square here. This is 4 by 3. Yeah, and you can even make any kind of size you want. If you go to page setup, right, you can pick all kinds of kind of presets here, but you can also just make it exactly what you want. Maybe you want to print your presentation in some kind of, format. You happen to be in Europe and you want to use A4 kind of paper in millimeters, which we should be using too, but I don't know why we're in some kind of ancient thing, Fahrenheit and inches or whatever. So anyway, yeah, those views are actually under here, right? If you go to the view menu, here are the views, right? These are the main views, and sometimes you might even get them down here too. So for instance, in the normal view, we saw that we have the thumbnails, the slide itself, and the notes. Then we can go to the outline view and we can see the text and the slide and the notes. Then we can go to the sorter. So in the sorter, I might say something like, let me rearrange this. I'll do sections before views. Okay, I can just slide them around like I was on a classic light table looking at transparencies or slides. I can really focus on the notes, and then reading view is more, I don't know what it is actually. It's just, what does it look like in a kind of full screen view, I guess. But these are the most common views, these first 4. And obviously the strength of this one is you got an overview of the entire presentation. You can shuffle slides around and get an idea of juxtaposition and sequencing and kind of a logical storytelling flow, beginning, middle, end. The outline view, we said, is obviously text. So there's a lot of text in the slides. You can organize the text. And obviously you can move these around too just by sliding them in the outline. I won't do it now. But the normal view too, excuse me, I have a little cough here. The notes is an interesting view because it's really your cheat notes. So I could say something like on the first slide here, I'll say in the notes, welcome the audience. And the idea is that no one can see this but you. So you can actually print this notes page, and you get a thumbnail where you'll see the slide everybody's looking at, and you'll know what to say. Because the worst thing you can do, of course, is this. Sections 4A, blah, 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 4B. So you certainly don't want to read to people. It's a great way to say once upon a time and put them to sleep. So the idea is if you have in your notes, what you really want to say to them, you don't have to read off the slide. The other thing you want to be careful of is having lots of text on a slide. I like the idea of just keywords and lots of pictures. I didn't do it now, but you get the idea. Okay, so anybody have any other questions about views, what their strengths are, why I would use each one? Everybody happy with that? All right, Amanda, nice work. So next is format pictures. And I know Stefania is not here with us today, she told me. So Gwen, we're up to you. How would I put a picture in the slide, Gwen?
So you would go to home or insert.
Home? I don't know about home. Home, maybe. Yeah, you're right. I could do it at home.
Okay.
Yeah, home, insert works. And that's the other thing about Office. I can go to insert, it's the same thing, right? Or right in the placeholder here, there is this. So this will allow me to do it too. Insert picture from file. I can do it from the web or whatever. I don't know what this is, but hopefully it's, look at that. This is my nephew. The idea is once a picture comes in, it comes in kind of dead center on the slide, and you can use these resize handles. If you hold the shift key down, you'll keep the aspect ratio. If you don't, then you can distort the image. And obviously you don't want to distort images of people. They look weird. And you can do all kinds of things with images, right? So if you click on the image, you can see you got your picture format here, and you can do all kinds of things. I'm not going to go into each one now. It'll take the whole class, but you'll see some of them in the project today. So maybe I say something like, well, that thing he's sitting on is really offensive, and I want to crop the image, right? I can do something like this and say, just crop it out. This is also useful for cropping out distractions, like maybe there's a big light above his head or something like that. So, and then once it's cropped, now I can resize it, and I can do all kinds of other treatments to it, right? And the idea is to try to make it look like it's more, planned instead of just slapped up there. And, you can kind of, obviously make it more communicative by sizing it, cropping it, combining it, colorizing it, all kinds of things like that. You can add special effects. These are very Photoshop-like effects here. So all kinds of things you can do to it. And the idea is to do something. Usually, you want to do something to it so that, it looks like you thought about it. Good. So we'll look at that some more later on. Alt text. Actually, let's go back to the slide of my nephew here. And let's see if we can figure out what's going on with that alt text. It should be actually in there. Here it is actually, right? So does anybody know why you would use alt text? Alternative text? Nathaniel? Say hello this morning, Nathaniel. How's everything?
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning. So any idea why you might use alt text here? It actually tells you sometimes what's going on. So some people maybe with a slight, not a sight impairity would be using a reader. So a screen reader is something like where it'll kind of go down and read to you, read aloud or one of those things. So when it hits this, I can have alt text here that says, Professor Gokinos' nephew, and it'll say that, sitting on a tank or whatever it is. So the idea is that you can add that to make it universally designed, universally compatible. Some people have, accessibility impairments and things like that. So that's what alt text is about.
So it's like subtitles for
kind of like, yeah, kind of, you wouldn't see it unless you had a screen reader. So if I added it here, I'll just say my nephew. And you'll see that, it doesn't actually make a caption. But if I did the read aloud thing, it would actually, when it came to scan this, it would say that. It would say my nephew. So obviously you want to be descriptive. My nephew might be a weak kind of description, right? You need to take a course in copywriting too on top of this. So you have to think, if someone is just reading the document or having it read to them, how can you describe this? A lot of times in a movie, the subtitles will give you that, right? They give you a sense of what's going on. They might say something like, scary music or something. And, so it's for people who are hearing impaired. They can read those subtitles and know what's going on in the audio track. So same thing here. We, look at what's going on in the video track and give them a little heads up that their screen reader would kind of fill in. Okay, columns I'll wait for. Just the idea that, if you had like, say 10 bullets going down, you could make it 5 and 5 by doing columns, and it just may be more readable. Format Painter. So it works the same way that it did in other programs, but you can actually use the Format Painter to do a lot more. So you can, for instance, paint the picture format. You can paint even an animation, right? If you have like an animated background, or let's say you have an animation that you want to use on multiple slides, you could paint that animation instead of doing it over and over again and going through all the steps to fine tune it. You could use the Format Painter to actually paint the animation from one to the other. Probably better in the Animation Pane. Let's see here. It's actually in this. Yeah, if we go to the Animation Pane, see, here's the Format Painter in animation. We'll take a look at that later in the project too. And obviously animation. I probably should have changed these two, right? So as you can see, I can just drag this one and make that slide 9, and animation comes first. So animation. How about Janaya? I don't expect to hear from Janaya, but maybe she'll surprise us one day. How about Yoon? Why would I use animation? Good morning.
Good morning.
What would be the advantage to me as a presenter to use animation in a PowerPoint or a Google slideshow?
So focus on some content.
Yeah, absolutely. Focus is key. You nailed it with that. And the idea is, like, if I pop this slide up and I have 5 bullets, while I'm talking about bullet 1, I don't want you reading bullet 5. You know what I mean? So everybody who's going to read ahead. So the idea is that if I animate this bulleted list, I can show it to you or spoon feed it to you one at a time. And this way, we can focus our attention on each part of it. So I think that really nails it. You can add animation to things like charts. So you might want to have one series appear at a time, or charts appear by dates, or tables appear by rows or columns. This way you can really kind of flesh it out and focus the audience's attention on each part. And even if you aren't, narrating or talking, just the idea when things move, they tend to attract their attention. So if you have an animation going on just in the background by itself, it kind of plays out that people will stay focused on. It'll just get their attention too. We like to watch things that move. So, animation is just a great way to catch their attention and also to keep it. Very good, Yoon. Okay, so anybody have any other questions about these key comments here? Not comments, but key terms. All right, so let's go into the real deal. I'm not even gonna save this, I guess. You guys are good, right? Should I save it? Okay, so we're gonna go into our Blackboard, Project A, and let's download the goodies and get to work. Okay, so seems to be working pretty well. So here's the instruction file, which I've already downloaded. Here's the start file, and then there's this image that you're going to need. All right, so let's open up the start file. I've got my instructions in hand. Okay, and social media strategy. seems appropriate. So you work
Professor?
in the, yes.
I can't, the screen is just black for me. I can't see if you're sharing something. I don't know, maybe
can't.
that's just me. Maybe
Is
I
anybody
have
else
that
having
too.
that problem? Can you guys see my PowerPoint screen now?
Yeah.
The slide that says social media
Yeah, I can
strategy?
see it.
Okay, so Joanna, what you might want to do is
Refresh
try
maybe?
logging off and logging on. Yeah,
Okay,
refresh
I'll
or
do that.
log off and log on. See if that works. So while Joanna is doing that, I'll just read this opening paragraph. It'll probably take me a few minutes to read it. So you work in the Public Relations Department for KMS Management Consultants and have created a presentation describing the company's social media strategies that you will deliver to the heads of each department. Begin by replying to the comment on slide 1 with the text done, and then close the comments pane. Okay, so we already saw how to do that, right? Onifa, how are you this morning? Are you here, Onifa? Okay, so Onifa, I am marking you absent, but if you are here, you'll let me know later. How about Valentina?
Hi. Yeah.
Good morning.
Sorry, I'm a little sick.
Valentina, you're sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
Did you?
Well, I hope you're feeling better.
Then?
So yeah, the question is, how would I respond to the comment? So you can see that there is a comment here because you see this little bubble, right? So click to show comments. Probably, pretty intuitive. I could do that, or I could go the way we went last time to review and then show comments.
Yeah, you would just reply to it like there.
Yeah, and that's the reply, right? So we're going to say done and type it exactly the way they say it. So for instance, they have an exclamation point. So there we go, and hit enter, and that should be, built in there, right? And it actually tracks it by time too. You notice that? So that, you'll see, oh, he finally did it. He finally fixed it or whatever. Yeah, you can see like, well, they asked him to fix it in 2018, but he finally fixed it, right? In 2021. Okay, so the next one then is Ashley. And it says resize the slides in presentation to wide screen. So we saw this too, right, in the preliminary. So we're in a square kind of standard 4:3 format. How would I change it to 16:9? Ashley, say hello first. Make sure you're here. Any idea? Ashley? Okay. How about Rylan? Good morning, Rylan.
Good morning, Professor.
How's everything?
Good. What was the question again?
I want to change the view to landscape, basically, to widescreen. Where it is.
In design.
Yeah, absolutely. Design and then slide size. Depending on the version, I've seen it, I think, in other versions where it's actually called orientation too. So, but yeah, here it is, widescreen. So we go there and you'll see that everything will adjust. You got to be careful. Sometimes if you do compose it in one, and this might happen too if you do it in Google and you go to PowerPoint, like things like, this picture might be, inside the text or something like that. So you just got to police everything and proof it and make sure that, everything kind of stayed in the same spots and whatever, what you were looking for. All right. Nice work, Rylan. Chloe, you're our next victim. I mean customer. So the thing says switch to slide sorter view and work with sections in the presentation as follows. So first of all, how do I get to the slide sorter view, Chloe?
Do you go to view?
Good. So view, and here's the sorter. You can also see it down here in the status bar. So depending on, maybe you don't want to go to that menu, you just want to go here. So you can see that this one is broken up into sections. So we don't see just a continuous stream of slides. You can kind of see that there are sections here that we can actually collapse. And this is nice that, you can kind of say, well, here's the beginning, here's the middle, here's the call to action, whatever. And then you can say things like, you know what, let's make the overview first. So you can kind of drag entire sections instead of just dragging single slides. You can, kind of compose it in sections and then move them around, collapse them, expand them, things like that. Okay, so we're looking at this section view here. And what do they want us to do? Add a section between slides 1 and 2 and rename the new section steps 4 to 6. Okay, so let's just see how that kind of comes together here. Between 1 and 2, I guess that's that, right? And any idea how to add that section? It's kind of a tough one, right? But it's here, I believe. Yeah. Okay, so that's the section there. So if I click on this, I would expect that these slides will move down here, right, to the next section. So it comes up as untitled, and then we're going to rename it steps 4 to 6. And again, type it exactly the way they have it. So 4 to, don't say like a dash or something like that, because you might get misgraded.
Professor, I'm sorry,
Yes.
do you mind going over that again?
No problem. So let's actually get out of it. We'll go back to where we were. Okay. So we're looking at the section view here, where we can see, the default section has 4 slides. The overview has 1 slide. The I don't know why that's untitled. Maybe it was untitled actually. Yeah, it was untitled. They want you to title it. So in order to create new sections, then we can just put an insertion point between the slide thumbnails like that. So they're asking us to move 2, 3, and 4 into a new section. So we put the insertion point there and then go to the section. And you can see here, I just clicked on it before, but you can have add section, collapse, expand, or remove all sections, which will make it, just one section. So in this case, we want to add a section, and that'll domino those slides down to a new section, which is untitled. And then we're going to just overtype the name that they specify, which is steps 4 to 6. Okay, everybody happy with that? Okay, then it says to change the name of the untitled section. Okay, so again, just click on it. Let's see if that works. Yeah, I had to double click on it. Okay, and it became highlighted like that. So that's going to be steps 1 to 3. Now, obviously, they're out of order, right? So it looks like we're going to order them probably next. 1 to 3, let's do that. Okay, then it says change the section order as follows. So I think the easiest way to change the section order would be to collapse them. So collapse them first, right? This way you get this kind of, because you could have lots of slides in a section. You wouldn't see the other sections as easy. So they want to start with the default section, then go to the overview. Okay, so let's click on it. I think if you click on the arrow, it probably will work. There it is. So you want to get that orange line. Okay, so now the overview became the second. Steps 1 to 3. Oh, that didn't work. Huh? I don't know what I did there. Let's try it one more time. Hopefully yours worked. Steps 1 to 3, hit enter. Seems to work this time, right? Okay, so let's move that to where it's kind of supposed to be chronologically, and then 4 to 6, and then end. Okay, so see, you can, you do it easier if you collapse everything, and then, just drag them around where you want them to be, and then expand them. Okay? Then it says return to normal view. View, normal. Okay, we're back in the normal view. Okay, number 5, display the comments pane. Then modify the comments in the presentation as follows. Question? Open your mic and just ask it.
Do you mind showing just how you move them one more time? Because mine aren't moving.
Sure. Okay, so let's go back. And what I prefer is, you can probably do it without, so you can do it. Actually, it collapses them for you. So once you, start trying to move a section, it collapses them. So, let's take the overview and make it the first section. So I click on it and then I drag it, where I want it to go. You have to click and hold the mouse down. Maybe that's what's happening. So I'm clicking and I'm holding the mouse down and then dragging with I'm using a trackpad, so I'm just holding the trackpad down as I drag it. So that's what lets you do it. Make sure you have it selected first. See, it turns orange when you select it. Then click, hold down, and drag. And that should let you do it. Did it work? Better? Okay, so display the comments pane. All right, so we can remember do that under review, show comments. Yeah, doesn't want to do that, right? How come? Probably because we're in this view. So let's return to the normal view. That was probably why, right? So now let's try it again. Review, show comments is available here. So you can't see the comments when you're in weird views or small views or whatever. On slide 2, why social media? Insert a comment with the text, I love this picture. You just have to lie. Okay, so here's the comment. You're going to click new. And then I love this picture, even though I don't. And again, exactly the way they say it, it has an exclamation point. Edit the comment on slide 5 by replacing Facebook with LinkedIn. Okay, this stuff is pretty straightforward. Usually works pretty easy. So here's slide 5. Slide 5 has no comments. That's weird. What did I do here? Something must be wrong.
For me, it does.
It does, yeah. I must have did something wrong when I moved them around. This is the proper slide. I think when I was showing you guys the outline, let me just see what's going on in that outline one more time, because I think the sections somehow are. So let's just view those sections here. Default over, yeah, there it is, right? So my 1 to 3 is supposed to be here. And now we should be good. Okay, so let's go back to the normal view. View, normal, and slide 5 we want, right? Let's expand. Before we get out of here, let's just expand them so we can see everything there. Okay, slide 5. All right, so there it is. I agree with you. So if you want to edit this, then you can just, I think you just click right on it, right? There you go. So change it to LinkedIn, and that's done. You can see you can also delete the comment with this. You can move from comment to comment. There's only one here, and you can create new comments. So pretty intuitive interface with that. Delete the comment on slide 7. Go to slide 7. Here's the comment. Here's delete. We definitely want to use more video in our social media activities. I hope so. Okay, so get rid of that. And then close the comments pane. So that would be this. Good. Everybody happy with that? All right, let's move on to step 6. On slide 2, why social media? Okay, here we are with that wonderful picture again. Apply a white text 1 picture border with a 6-point border weight. Okay, so let me pick on Allison here. Good morning, Allison. Any idea how to do that? Apply a white text 1 picture border. How do I start at least? Are you here, Allison? How about Leah?
Hi, I'm here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I want to format that picture in some way. What should I do, Leah?
Yeah, so you click on the picture, and then the picture format shows up.
Great.
And then you go to
picture border.
Oh, picture border, and then you do the
I guess it's this, right?
And then the weight.
Yeah, good. So picture border, white, I think is this one. Yeah, white text 1 is what they want. And then the weight is going to be pull down this thing, I think. Here's the weight, right? And they want a 6-point border. So that's a juicy border. Looks like this, really makes the picture. See the difference? I mean, just makes the picture look like it was thought about a little bit more than just kind of slapped up there, even though it's probably still too small and kind of weird looking. But then it says apply the pastel smooth artistic effect. So any idea how to do that, Leah? Same thing, right? Pretty much here. And that effect is probably under here, right? Artistic effects.
Yeah, I think so.
Pastel smooth. You have to kind of check them out. There it is. Okay, maybe easier to see. Obviously, we just blow it up for now. And then it says, add the alt text description. 7 young people at the table looking at digital devices. So there it is, right? Alt text is here. Yes, please. You okay, Joanne?
Yeah, it was just my screen was lagging, so I couldn't see. What artistic effect was it?
It's the pastel smooth, which is this guy here. Pastel smooth. Okay, and then we're going to apply the alt text. Again, the picture is still selected. Click on the alt text. I'm not going to type it in for you guys. You can do it yourself. Just because I don't want to type in front of you. 7 young people at table looking at digital devices. Nice. I think this pastel effect is a little bit overdone too. I don't know, maybe not.
Professor.
And how
Yes.
did you get to that screen when you?
Where was the border option?
Okay, so the border option is under the format picture, right? So you start with format picture, and then you go to the this guy here is the borders, picture border. It's under picture styles, and then looks like a little pen or going around the border. So that'll give you the colors, and then down at the bottom is the weight. Good? Everybody good now? Ready to move on? I moved the picture around. Don't do that. I just wanted you to see it a little bit bigger. Obviously, if they don't tell you to move it, don't move it. They may tell you to move it to a certain spot, then you follow directions and do it, you know, because the artificial intelligence grading engine is out to get you. With slides still displaying, modify the bulleted list as follows. Okay, so here's our bulleted list. I can make this a little larger maybe just so you guys can see it a little bit better. No? Not cooperating, but. So change the bullets to a check mark. Okay, so any idea how to do that, Victoria? Start by highlighting, probably. Good morning. So I want to format bullets, basically. Where am I going to find that? Probably in this area, right? It's under the paragraph group. And then you can see, you'll notice, watch what happens here. If I don't select anything, notice how the ribbon looks. So sometimes you can see cues on the ribbon. Once I select this bulleted list, you can see certain things come up that look like they're, you know, kind of asking me, do you want to edit me, right? When they come up like that. So here is the bulleted list. And what do they want you to do? Change the bullet to the check mark. That would be this. Okay. Obviously, I see a couple of, you know, but I can change. If I look here, I'll see a lot more, but these are the most common ones. So we can do that, and we've got the check marks. Then they say change the size to 125%. Well, that's probably where we're going to have to go a little deeper in the same area, right? Just go here. And here's our percent, right? So 125 is what we want. So we're going to get some big check marks going on. And you can see other things you can do here, right? You can change the color of those check marks. In fact, they want you to do that. So we're going to change them to aqua, accent 4, darker 50%. So I think that's this guy. Yeah. Okay, so bigger, dark blue bullets. You can even make your own bullets here. You can have a picture in the bullet. You can use these guys, you know, you can load, you know, certain images or whatever in there. But we're going to go with what they want, which is the aqua, 125, check marks.
Professor?
Yes.
I'm still at the check marks. Was that under shape format or where?
No. Let me show you again. It's under the bullets here. So you're going to stay in the bullets. Let's just backtrack here, Joanna, so we can do it again. So we're back at the original thing. Maybe your internet is a little slow today.
Yeah, something's
you don't.
Up.
Yeah, try this. See if you can just follow along. We'll do it step by step again. So the first thing I want to do is I'm on the slide. I'm going to click and drag to highlight the bulleted list. Okay, so when I do that, then I'm on the Home tab. In the paragraph group, the first icon is bullets. Pull down the arrow and change to the check marks.
That worked.
Okay, good. So now we have the check marks there in 100% white. And now with the list still selected, I'm going to go back in, but this time I'm going to go down to the power user dialog here, which takes us to the next level. So you see, I could have went there right in the beginning and changed everything too. If I know I want to change more than one thing, right? So I want to change the color to Aqua 50, which is this guy, okay? Whatever it is there, third to last row, last choice. Okay, pick that, and I want to change the size to 125%, and that's it, actually. So once you say okay, then you should see bigger, bluer check mark bullets. Yeah, and you know, sometimes a simple thing like that will just kind of make you stand out a little bit or whatever. Okay, so now we're looking at slide 2, still displaying, change the line spacing of the bullets to 1.5. So again, this is, you know, similar to if you were just doing line spacing anywhere. It's going to be this guy here, right? This is your line spacing under the paragraph group, and we want 1.5, which is this. And that'll open things up and hopefully make it a little more legible. You'll notice it's also on top of the picture, or the picture's on top of it, I guess because I moved the picture, right? So now we're looking better, right? All right, so that's step 8. We're up to step 9. On slide 3, that would be this slide, hopefully. Determine our goals. Good. Change the list numbering style to 1-1 column 2. Now that was a little confusing, actually. Change the list numbering style. Well, you can see that there are some kind of numbers here, and it's the same thing. Instead of a bulleted list, you just consult the numbered list. And I didn't really know what they were talking about at first, but let me just see what it says. To 1, row 1, column 2. Row 1, column 2. Looks like that's what it is already, actually. But obviously you could change it from one to the other. I would take a look at the solution file and see what it is. For some reason, it seemed to me like it was this way, and then they want you to change it, because obviously row 1, column 2 is that. I may have modified this already when I was doing it last night. So then on slide 4, any questions about that? You're okay with that, right? Slide 4. Now, what is wrong with this slide? Anybody have an idea of, you know, if you wanted to say just basic presentation skills? Get out your magnifying glass so you can read all this, right? So what they say here is format the bulleted text in 2 columns and modify it as follows. Okay, so here's the bulleted text. So my idea about this is, okay, 2 columns can work, but also you might want to just make more slides. So you could say something like step 2 and just, you know, copy the slide, and maybe on the first one just have ages, gender, location. On the next one have income, education. Does that make sense? Because I don't like more than, say, 6 bullets. Once you start getting to more than 6 bullets, you're overwhelming your audience, I think. So I would say, like, you know, this slide looks really crowded. I have this thing called the rule of 6. No more than 6 lines, no more than 6 words per line. So you want to obviously make it big enough that everybody's going to see what's going on, and make more slides. They're free. You don't have to go crazy, you know, trying to fit everything. I hate when I see people putting like a novel on one slide where it's just like loaded with text. No one wants to read that. They want to hear you talk about it. So by putting a couple of key words there, and then you go on, maybe you put it in your notes area, right? What you want to talk about. Okay, so what we're going to do here is on this bulleted list, we're going to change the spacing between the 2 columns. Wait, first of all, it says first make it in columns. So we didn't even do that yet. But if you notice, in the paragraph group, there is this. And that looks like the columns, right? So let's change it to 2 columns. And we got that. That's a start.
I think you're on the wrong slide.
You do? Yeah, you're right. I am on the wrong slide. Thank you. It's this one. So let's fix that. Thank you very much for that heads up. So back to our columns, right? 2 columns. Yeah, that works better, right? And then we're going to move income so it appears at the top of column 2. And that's just a matter of putting your return right there, right? And this might be called balancing the columns, you know? Anyway, I'm not going to do anything else weird. Let me undo that. So that kind of balances them a little better where they're having about the same stuff in there. So we're good with that. Everybody knows how to make the columns now, right? Make the columns in their bulleted list and then balance them by kind of doing your return in the right spot. All right, we're doing good, or at least you're doing good. I don't know how I'm doing. Slide 5, step 3, select 2 channels. That's it, right? I got the right slide at least. Use the format painter to match the formatting of LinkedIn to the Twitter text. So you'll notice that this is larger, right? So if I highlight this guy, I don't know if I should highlight the entire text. Probably won't hurt.
Professor, how did you
Yeah.
get yours to look like that, like with the lines? I think I missed that for a second.
Which lines are you talking about? These lines?
Yeah. Why does yours look like that?
You don't see those lines?
No. No.
Okay. Let me see if I can see. If you go to view, there might be something called show guides. That's what it is. See that? So those guides, I like those guides, and the ruler. See, the ruler is there too, and those guides can help you to, you know, kind of move. You can move them around in the ruler. It's like having an electronic T-square, right? You can kind of lay things out. You should be able to drag extra guides out of the ruler, but you can't in this, you know. But like Illustrator will let you grab, you know, more guides if you want to make a kind of grid. But this one, you just have to do them one at a time to kind of measure them. But that's what it is, view guides.
Okay.
I like showing it, especially when I'm doing a lot of graphic work on a slide, right? You want to kind of see those guides. So the premise here then is to use the format painter, right? So we're going to grab this guy, and then format painter is here. Click on that, and then click on the other text. Ooh, that doesn't look right. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, I see what happened. Everything got as big as this. Let me just read this more carefully and see what they're asking for here. On slide 5, use the format painter to match the, just LinkedIn, I see. So just LinkedIn and Twitter. So grab LinkedIn, click on the painter, and then grab Twitter. That's what you want. Not as easy to do as you think. So you could actually use the zoom tool here, right, to get a little bit bigger when you want to do a little surgery like this. Okay, so format painter, and now our Twitter friend. And you can see I'm fumbling a little bit because I got target too. But you get the idea, right? Let me do it right. I'll try it one more time before I fail the course. Okay, so we got that. With slide 5 still displaying, animate the 2 text boxes as follows. Okay, let me start calling on people again here. So Victoria, next is Solanise. Good morning. I saw you're here. How are you? Solanise, say hello. We want to animate. You're not here, Solanise? I thought I saw you joining the class. How about Alexis? Alexis, are you here? I don't know. What, we got spring fever or something today? I know Joanna is here. So
Yeah,
Joanna, how can I animate these guys? Any idea? Well, you know, take a look up here.
Yeah, I guess animation.
Good, animation, start with that. So that will give you the animation kind of ribbon, and it's got all kinds of stuff going on here. I like to always start with the animation pane visible. So the animation pane will show you things that, you know, for instance, you can see there's one item already animated, right? And you can, if you play it, you can see how it's going to, you know, kind of move around on the slide. You'll also see it has an animation tag. So that tells you that it's animated too. When you see that little number next to it, you know it's in the animation list over here. It's the only thing in the list. So we want to add the other one too, and then we'll get a 2 up here. And then we can actually change the order or do other things to modify the animation.
Are we just animating the Twitter text now?
Well, that's already animated, Joanna. That's already built into the raw file. That one's in there. I just wanted to show you so it has it there. What it says is animate the LinkedIn text box using bounce left. Okay, so we'll highlight that text box. And then where do you think bounce left is? It says bounce using bounce left preset motion path. Actually, that's not the same. So to animate the entrance, we could find one of these guys. And I don't know, bounce may not even be in there, right? Because this is more of a motion path. There it is, bounce is there, but it's not the same. So be careful. I think what they're looking for is this. Okay, the path animation. So if you call up that guy, is bounce in there? Should be. Am I just missing it? Yeah, here it is, right? Bounce. So when you click on bounce, okay, some of these are really annoying, so be careful. So you can see now that you have the two animations are there, and you can easily change the order. So right now we have I can play it from the start too. So first Twitter comes on, and then LinkedIn moves around a little bit. So we can change the order if we want, just by dragging these guys or using this up and down thing or deleting it from the animation. And we can also add to the animation, like for instance, is that bounce left? I don't think so, right? So you got to go here, click on LinkedIn again, effect options. Trying to figure out where this is. Hang on. Timing triggers. Should be under, I would think it would be under here actually. After animation, timing triggers here. Text animations. It's weird. I know I saw this when I was doing it last night. It's there. It's in here somewhere. Bounce left. Should be right here, you would think. Animate the LinkedIn text box. The preset motion path. Bounce. Well, it is bouncing to the left already, which is good. But if we want to change it, we should be able to change that, right? I don't know why I'm not seeing it here. I would think it would. Yes.
You said that the entrance bounce is not the same as the path one, right?
I don't think so, but let's try it.
Because
Let's just try it.
I'm using Windows, but I don't see I don't.
Do you see something that's called motion path?
I do that. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's just a different name. Motion path is the Windows version of it.
The bounce effect is not in there though. Is it?
No.
No.
You don't see bounce in there?
It has lines, arcs, turns, shapes, loops, custom path.
Okay. It should be under, well, this one's called complex. I don't have a Windows machine here to look at it, but I know that they should be somewhat similar. Don't agonize over it. Let's see what happens again.
It's no big deal. Thank you.
Sometimes you have to play with it a little bit. Anyway, I don't want to, take up more of your time here trying to figure out where that bounce left option is. So let's just go to the next one here. It says add a drum roll sound to the animation of the LinkedIn text box. So again, it's probably one of those other things. Look for like sound or something like that. So is there like an audio thing that goes on there? Text, animate.
It's at the top.
Sound, right. Now these could be super annoying. So I would only use them, very judiciously, maybe once in a presentation. Even those weird bouncing animations, I would try to stay away from. They just start making things look kind of amateurish in general. And, it just takes longer and whatever. I mean, it's good to know that they're there and how to do them. But if you start pulling them out on every animation, they become, nauseatingly monotonous. And, again, I think you get the idea, right? So drum roll. Here it is. You have to have headphones, obviously, to hear it or your sound on. Then it says use the Animation Pane to apply the same animation to the Twitter text. Okay, so we're going to click on this guy, go to the Animation Painter. It should be here. I know I saw it before. Here it is. Okay, Animation Painter. So click on that, and then we're going to click on this guy. And now, I'm hearing the drum roll in my headphones. I don't know if you got spared, but it's there. Okay, change the order of the animation so that Twitter comes before. Okay, so all you got to do here, is click on the up arrow, and Twitter then becomes the first animation. So now you can preview it. Twitter, LinkedIn. Okay. Everybody good with that? I hope. On slide 6, step 4.
Professor,
yes.
if you needed to find how to do bounce left, I found out how to do it.
Yeah, tell us.
So when you click on the little bounce movement on the slide,
right,
the option for effect option at the top should show, and then it says direction and it says left.
Direction, yeah, it's got to be something like that. Very good. So you click on this first, and then effect option, property after animation. I don't know why I don't see direction on mine. It's under effect option.
It's at the toolbar.
Property. Oh, in the toolbar.
Yeah, it says effect options. You click it down, and it says direction, and it says left.
I see now, yeah. Very good, Fred. Thank you. There it is, left and right. You got to know your left from your right. And Gwen does. Yeah, I did see this actually in the long run. I did get it right, but for some reason it just eluded me. Okay, so now we're on slide 6, I think, right? Here we are, slide 6. And we've got 2 animations here, right? So if we play this, let's just look what it looks like. Totally dizzying, right? So again, you want to use these animations, I guess, to edify your presentation, not to distract from it. So again, be really careful. Too much eye candy in weird ways just kind of makes it, again, look amateurish. Change the direction of the fly-in animation so that the picture enters from the bottom left. Okay, so the fly-in animation is, let me see if I can figure out which one is which here. So first it spins around, so it must be the second one is the fly-in, right? So fly in, and then property here from bottom. We want to change it to bottom left. Okay, and then it says remove the spin animation. Thank goodness, right? So here's the spin animation. Here's remove, goodbye. So now the other animation becomes number 1. And then it says add teeter, emphasis animation, Mac hint. It's called emphasis effect moderate teeter. So we're on a Mac. So let's see here, emphasis effect, here it is. Go to moderate group, which would be these guys, and here's teeter. There it is. Okay, everybody good with that? Number 14, on slide 7. Change the bullet for use video to a picture. Okay, so that should be pretty easy, right? Here we are. So we're going to get rid of this video, this bullet here. And instead, we're going to insert the picture. And that should be pretty straightforward. Actually, I don't want it to be a bullet at all. I'm just going to go to Insert, Picture, and I downloaded the picture, right? So from File, there it is. Okay, use video. And that looks like video, right? Does it play? No, it's just a still image. So then change the bullet. We did that. They don't really say anything about changing the size of this or anything, but I would think that when they say to replace the bullet, it should be something like that. Hopefully it will not grade you wrong if you move it around. Number 15, on slide 8, modify the text boxes as follows. Okay, so here we are on slide 8. These are the...
Professor?
Yes?
Did you want us to remove that whole text to use video? I'm confused because I thought it meant...
It says, what does it actually say? It says on slide 8, change the bullet for use video to a picture. So actually, to read it, I'm glad you brought it up, to read it carefully, I think that it might be, let's try it like this then. Maybe the idea of keeping that second line is there. I'm not really sure. I didn't send this to be graded. So
I think you wanted us to do what kind of like the first bullet has, like change that white bullet to a picture.
Yeah, exactly. And keep this, right?
So how do you do that?
So I'm just highlighting it, right? I highlight it first and then go to insert picture. Let's see how that works. Maybe it'll actually resize it. I didn't try it this way. No, it still does the same thing.
Yeah, it did the same thing for me.
Yeah. So I would just do it manually then. My idea about this, if I was editing it, is I would probably just get rid of that, right? Leave the subhead there. If you get, weird grades on it, just let me know. I'll give you the credit back.
Okay.
Obviously, yeah, you get the idea, right? So I mean, it should kind of be where that bullet would be. Maybe something like that, I guess. I don't know exactly what they were actually looking for. But again, I didn't print the solution file, which is the last page of the instructions. It usually shows you. Let me just see. Actually, I do have it here. Anyway, it's too small for me to see right now, but I can't really figure out what they're looking for. I would say something.
Able to do it, Professor.
Yeah, just by deleting that one bullet and keeping this.
Oh, so you just highlight the use video text and then you go back to paragraph and the bullet formatting section, and then it says picture as an option, and then you just upload the picture. Yeah, that's all you had to do.
That actually seems like the right way to do it. Then that's what they're looking for. So let's look at that, Gwen. So you highlight this, you go to the paragraph, you go here.
Yeah, and then bullet form numbering. And then it says picture for customize, and then you just upload the picture.
Is that what they need? Change the bullet. Okay, that's it. You nailed it. So now I get it. Now it makes more sense. See, because look at this bullet. This is a customized bullet too. So that does make a lot of sense, Gwen. Good eye. That's exactly what we're looking for. My criticism about this would be, again, this is just so small. I mean, is this actually going to show up? Kind of, I guess. I guess if you knew what that play button was, but you'd have to be pretty savvy up front. But that's what they're looking for, obviously. That makes more sense now, because it does say change the bullet. So you don't want to delete the text, just the bullet. Very good. Okay, so now we're on slide, the one with the text boxes, right? So there's two text boxes here. Let me see if I can get through this without driving you crazy. Change the left margin of the text of the blue rectangle to 0.5. So you'll notice here is your ruler. When I click on this text box, I can see here is the, margins. And I just want to drag the bottom square to 0.5, and that'll move the text. Yes, that's what we want, right? Change the text, that looks good. Use the format painter to apply the formatting of the blue text box to the orange text box. So with this still selected, home, painter, and then impress the formatting on the other one. Didn't work. Hang on a second. Try it one more time. Get the old guy, or at least the source, I would call it, right? The source, get the painter, and then go to the destination. Ooh. That is not right. I think you just have to be really precise. Again, I'm just going to blow it up a little bit here. See if I can make it work. I don't know why it's doing that. Try it one more time. Maybe if I just click on the edge there. No. It's funny because this worked for me. But obviously something is not right the way I'm doing it this time. There we go. Just click right in the middle. Sometimes it's just a little finesse, right, in the way that you click it. But you'll notice that it turned blue. It also adjusted the margin. You got the 0.5 again here so that the text is, not flush left with the box.
Professor?
Yes.
I don't have those margins.
Me neither. I was going to ask you the same.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's view ruler then. Make sure your ruler is displaying, guys. If you go to view, make sure your ruler checkbox is displaying. And then you should see those margins.
Both of mine are check marked, but I still don't have that little.
Make sure you click on the actual text box, Joanna. Make sure the text box has the 8 resize handles around it here. See, and you notice if I'm here, I don't see anything, right? But when I click right on it, then I see it. Click on this guy, now I see it. Does that make sense?
Still doesn't pop up, but it's okay. I can. experiment
No,
after class.
it's not okay, but you'll figure it out, and you'll let me know if you have more
For
trouble.
now,
We'll
yeah.
figure it out. Yeah, yeah. And I think some of the fun is just to play with it a little bit later and see what you can do, because trying to do it step by step with me might be a little bit cumbersome. So just revisit it and see what happens. So the next one
Professor?
says, yes.
What exactly did you move? I didn't really catch that because your screen went a little blurry for me.
Here, let me show you. So when I highlight the or click inside the box here, you can see this is the text alignment. So if I move that around, see how the text is moving around? It's either, and I can actually do like a first line indent or a hanging indent. It behaves just like text in Word would, thinking that this is the whole page. So when I click on that, I should see the kind of indents, right? The margin and the indents. Try clicking like right on the text part of it.
So we're just moving it like 0.5 in, right?
That's right. So it's not going to, it
Oh,
started out
okay.
flush left with the text box, and they just want to kind of move it in so it looks, I guess better. The next thing is to draw a connector. So a connector, to give you like an info kind of graphic where one kind of goes to the other, like a smart art. So the connectors are under insert shapes, I think. So insert shapes, and then they don't call them connectors, I guess. I don't know if you have a PC. If our PC folks can tell us, they might be called connectors in the PC version, but this is the one they're looking for. Here it's called a connector. See, double arrow elbow connector. So go on that, and then go from one to the other, and you'll get that connection. And of course, it's very, very wispy, so you can't see it, but with it highlighted like that, then they tell you to change the shape, outline, color of the connector to, so that's going to be here, right? Shape, outline, and it's our aqua friend again, so we're being consistent. And then the weight is going to be, again, 6 points. So that's going to make it really at least stand out when we do 6 points. Good.
Professor, my connector did whatever it wanted. It didn't get...
I hate when that happens. So let me show you. Let's go back, and without the connector there again, try this technique. First of all, if these boxes are bigger, it might be easier to do this because they're kind of small. And again, when you're doing your own presentation, you can fine-tune some of these things. But obviously working on someone else is a little weird. So let me show you the trick that I think will work for the connector. So first go to Insert Shapes and get the connector in question. And then go on the actual, see how I go on the actual resize handle there? See, I'm clicking right on that little circle and then go to the other one. And that should do it. And then you want to change the color and the weight. Good. Number 16. On the final slide in the presentation, which I guess is this slide, right? Recolor the picture using Aqua Accent 4. Well, let me call on somebody here. Corral, I know you're here. How about Ching? Recolor the picture using Aqua Accent 4 Light. So how do you think we can do that? Sounds like a lot of work, right? Have to round trip into Photoshop? No, you really don't. So are you here, Ching?
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So yeah, usually a good start would be to click on the picture, right? We've got our format picture. And then you can see, probably it's somewhere in the adjust group. We want to recolor the picture using Aqua Accent 4 Light. So here's the colors, and recolor is one of the groups. I'm going to say Aqua is probably somewhere in the blue. Yeah, and here's the light one. That's what they want. Okay, so you give it that kind of tonal effect, and then apply the slant bevel picture effect. Okay, and again it says Mac hint, cool slant bevel. Okay, so I think it would be under this. These are the styles: picture effects, bevel, And what is the one we want? Cool slant bevel. I don't know. Let's see. I got to hunt for them actually. Cool slant. There it is. Cool slant. Okay, so you get that. You get that little kind of edge there. And we're almost done. 2 more steps.
Professor,
Yes.
how did you do that last part?
Let me show you.
Sorry.
So we're back to the regular picture, right? So we click on the picture, picture format. First thing we want to do is get the tonal effect. So you go to Recolor, and then here's the effect they wanted. And then the bevel is under this guy, under Picture Styles, the little kind of button look that it has here, 3D. Go to Bevel, and then the cool bevel, I think, is Cool Slant or something it's called. This one. Okay, and it gives you that little, I guess, cool slant. All right, so then with the final slide still displaying, enhance the text engage. So we'll click on that. I guess with the exclamation point. With Glow 8-Point Aqua Accent Color 4. So again, I guess we're going to go somewhere to text effects. Glow, I'm trying to see where that might be. Drawing, text effects, shape outline. Hang on a second. I know it's here because I did it. Enhance the text.
Is it under shape format maybe? Or
could be. Shape format?
Yeah.
How you say? Oh, under here. Oh, that's it. That's right. You got it. I'm glad you guys are here to help me with this. Yeah, so here it is, right? This guy, I think it is. Text effects. Very good. So you're going to come here, go to Glow, and find stuff that you never thought was there before, right? So it's Glow 8-Point Aqua Accent Color 4. So start with the blue ones, see where you are. And I think that's the one they want. And obviously, if it's not, just kind of look and you'll see the different numbers there. So Glow 8 is the one here. It's the second choice. Okay, and it makes it stand out. It also makes it kind of match the new tonal effect that we did there. And we're almost done. Last step with the final slide still displaying. Modify the animation of engage. First of all, let's look at the animations. So that comes on, and then that comes on. So it says dim the text after the animation by changing the after animation setting to brown. Okay, so engage, I'm going to get that. Here it is after animation, right? It says don't dim, but we're going to look at this, and here's brown. You can also do things like make it disappear, right? Or hide on the next mouse click, but I think this is the one we want. And then delay the animation for engage, so it starts 1 second after. Okay, so here's the delay under timing. So these are actually interesting things. So you can do it on click, or you can have it do it immediately, automatically with the previous event or after the previous event. So if you're, not kind of supervising the presentation, then you'd pick one of these guys. It'll play automatically. If you're supervising the presentation, then you'd use this. Yes?
Did you add the animation for engage, or was it there?
No, it was there already. It says modify, I think, right? So it's already there.
I don't have it there. I just have 1 and picture 2. There's no 2 engage.
Really?
Animation.
Okay, well, animate it then. Animate. See what happens. I'm just going to back out of this and see what mine looks like. See, mine was already there. It's already there.
Yeah, mine wasn't.
So, but you can add it, right? So let me just go back through this. Yeah, I'll walk through with you. So let me just do this because I want to just make sure that we have the same look. Okay, so we have that, and then we're going to highlight this guy, and animation, engage. So what was it that we wanted to do? Dim the animation afterwards. So here, after animation, we're going to go to brown, and then the delay is going to be 1 second after the picture animation. So 1 second. Actually, it should be this then, I would think. 1 second after previous. Does that make sense? So sometimes these things have to be kind of tweaked, and then you have to look at the show and see if that's what you want, you know? So my guess is 1 second after previous means that once I animate the first thing, I won't have to press again. It'll do it automatically. Let's see if it works. So slideshow, play from current slide. Okay, so nothing's happening now. I'm not touching anything. But if I touch the space bar once, I should get both animations. So here's the first one. And now a 1 second delay, and there's the second one. See how that works? Does that make sense to everybody? So if we changed it to on click, then it wouldn't work that way, right? So now if we do it, we're going to have to click twice, right? So here I click once, nothing happens forever until I click again. Get the idea how that works? So what I'm doing here then is kind of telling it, well, now I want this one to kind of animate automatically after the previous event in 1 second, then do the next one. Does that make sense to everybody? So actually, I mean, a lot of this stuff seems kind of rudimentary, but if you do a really nice show, you can really kind of fine tune these animations, you know, as Yoon kind of said before, to focus the audience's attention on each thing where it kind of really makes sense. And just think if you were marrying this to a voiceover, you could have it, you know, the picture, and then maybe the voiceover was saying engage, and it would be timed so that it would synchronize. And that's the beauty of really kind of, you know, marrying it together and making the two, the audio and the video, kind of support each other instead of distract from each other, right? So one of the things about PowerPoint is that it can be very distracting and kind of work against you. Or it can actually, if you know what you're doing, you know, what you don't want to happen with something like this, for instance, is you don't want like the slideshow running away from you. You know what I mean? Like while you're presenting, all of a sudden other things are happening that you don't want to happen. You know what I mean? So you want it to be synchronized with your delivery, your presentation, voiceover, so that everything kind of falls into place instead of it being distracting. And sometimes it's just a little setting like this that'll throw the whole thing off. Okay, so that was the last step. Let's hear some more comments or questions. Anybody want to go over any of the details?
Do you have the brown after animation?
Oh, yeah, that brown after animation. I didn't notice that that actually worked. You're right.
Because my animation is like, yeah, there's the brown frame kind of showing up after.
It says after animation. Yeah, it should go to brown. Definitely, it should go to brown. Let me just see what this is here. And it looks like I have it set correctly. After animation, so it should go to brown. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it should work. You know, why don't we just run through the whole show and see what happens from the top here. Actually, it's pretty good content. Nothing we didn't know already, right? See, again, like this bulleted list could be animated where, you know, first I'll talk about engagement, you know, and then bring up the next bullet. So you don't want to bring up too much at once. See, especially here. I start talking about increasing brand awareness and you're looking at ROI or something else. You're not paying attention to what, you know, I'm talking about. And here's our, you know, 2-column bulleted list. Okay, and then I'm hearing the drum roll too here. And now we're going to see a little teeter animation on the measuring rod there. Nice work, Gwen, on that. That looks really beautiful. Okay, and there's our elbow connector. I screwed up the alignment here when I was showing you guys the first line indent, but you get the idea. Now here's a totally blank slide that probably needs animation, right? So there it is. And now it should turn brown. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, there it is. I had to click again. I had to click to make it turn brown. But you would think after animation, it would just do it automatically, because that's what it says. Anyway, just takes another click to make it work. Yeah, some of this can be a little bit more kind of involved, and obviously you got to kind of explore and kind of A/B it, where you preview it with different parameters in here, and you might see some different effects. I've seen some really beautiful ones that people can do things that you would think they were using, After Effects or whatever. They'll have like, lights and, things moving all over the place, beautiful animations, and it's only PowerPoint.